All right, so thank you for introducing me, Anna. I will take us closer from source to the sea with our Baltic Sea region rivers, because that's my main field I work on at CCB and also outside of CCB. And you can already see on the picture what we will talk about, because that's the place when the river enters the sea. This particular one is taken in Iceland. So yes, I just wanted also let you know what is my field and what topics you can relate on in terms of questions or any like consultations you would like to have. So as Anna introduced me, I'm the founder of River University at Coalition Clean Baltic, which will also happen this year, but the invitation will come at the end of my presentation. I'm also the working area leader for eutrophication in Baltic Sea region. So I lead the group of experts from different countries around the Baltic Sea region, and we work on eutrophication issues, which means basically agriculture impact and inland waters impact on the Baltic Sea. And that will be my topic today, as you know. Also, I'm a member of Water Working Group in European Environmental Bureau in Brussels. This group is related to water policy mainly. Besides that, I'm observer from the NGO and from civil society in International Commission of Odra Protection against pollution from the point of National Polish Save the River Coalition, and also the similar function as observer at HELCOM, which is the Baltic Marine Environmental Protection Commission, and there is dedicated source to sea group, exactly covering the same topic we are in today. And also I act as independent researcher working on transmodal rivers, participatory river protection, water management, stakeholder engagement, and water security and governance. So that was just short word in which fields you can rely on in my case. But I would like to also hear something from you at the beginning. I prepared a couple of pictures, and as we are in the Baltic Ocean Literacy School, I would like to hear what you see on the pictures, how you express what you see, because although it's not about the knowledge, but it's also about how we express what we know, and this is quite important. You will also see later on my slides as well. So just from my curiosity, I will ask you what you see on this picture. The coastal area you see, beach, different water masses, yes. What else?
I can imagine that the sea is frozen. It's winter, perhaps.
All right, the winter time. Okay, it's getting interesting. Someone sees the eutrophication of waters. Again, biogens into the sea. Green alga bloom. Yes, we are getting right. So that's that was the main aim of my question, because obviously we can see the sea coast, and it's particularly the Baltic Sea coast on the Polish side of the coastline nearby Sopot city, one of the most busy touristic cities. We can also see on the right upper part of the picture some water-related sports are going on, but obviously I'm asking about the different colors of the water masses, and this is exactly the alga bloom, the eutrophication effects, what we see. And you can also see the people on the beach, but perhaps I suppose that they rather are not allowed to bath during such circumstances. So on this picture, you can imagine how broad can be the effect of eutrophication.
Not quite sure, but it looks like also the oil pollution, I guess.
So we have answer of oil pollution. I can see the bloom of cyanobacteria answer. And yes, it's again picture related to eutrophication, to the bloom of algae. This is quite heavy bloom, and that's a picture by Friends of the Baltic, perhaps maybe by even Anna Uszakova, taken in the Gulf of Finland, as I remember, nearby the Neva Bay, as I remember from her. That looks really terrible. You can already see as well. Yes, and someone mentioned a dead zone. That it's also some effect of lower oxygen levels due to increase of the nutrients. And here are slightly different pictures, more related to inland waters, more related to rivers. You can also say or write what you think is here. Yes, that fish for sure. Okay, we can also hypoxia answer. And what do you think is the picture on the left with the rocks? The drought. All right, so all the answers are right, but of course it's not without a cause. Yes, so on the left you can see the dry riverbed. It was also pictured by our CCB colleague, but the dry riverbed is not without not without the cause. So the problem there was the hydropower plant, which obviously they blocked the flow of rivers. So that's kind of example how river can look like if significant barriers are on its way. And the dead fish also the dead fish also are the result of anthropogenic factors. Like, for example, perhaps you heard about Odra environmental catastrophe, which we faced, which results we faced still in the river, and this was or even this is still the largest of environmental river-related catastrophes, where the living organisms were extinct massively, not only fish but also mollusks, which they are the basis of healthy functioning river. So this is also some impact by human hand, which also affects the Baltic Sea. But we will see that in the moment. And here you can see again the lucky picture when river enters the sea. This is also the Polish coastline near Ustka city, where the river joins the marine waters. So this one is rather positive, because I didn't want it to like overwhelm with all negativity. And yes, from this graph you can already see like the factors I mentioned, that that means over fertilization in agriculture or blocking rivers by dams for different purposes, for example for hydropower or for other purposes, can affect the healthiness, the condition of the river, and thus also the condition of the Baltic Sea, as you could see on the first rather disgusting pictures. Here you might imagine the dam cross-cutting the river. Here you have the source where river starts flowing easily with some meanders on the way. If the river is healthy, it should have the curves and meanders. Then it should also easily reach the perhaps Baltic, but not necessarily, not only sea mouth, also called delta or estuary. But as we could see, there are at least few and more obstacles within this source to sea system. And generally, source to sea system is a kind of holistic approach to managing the river as a whole section, whole basin from its source, when I showed. Usually the source takes place in the mountains or hillside to its mouth when it meets the sea. And obviously this approach involves working with possibly a whole range of different stakeholders, like obviously water authorities, but also civil society, scientists, institutions, including local communities, for the purpose to understand and manage this whole system within the river basin. And I would highlight especially the local communities, because sometimes, and I would say quite often, science is not enough. The broader picture can be supplemented by local knowledge, because the people living nearby the river, like from years, they know something that it's not broadly known. So the local knowledge from local communities is very important, unfortunately sometimes missed. Yes, and source to sea recognizes that health of the river and ecological services which rivers provide us are depending on the land and also on the water management practices or system, however we call it, through the whole length of the river. And the actions in one part of the river basin for example, here in the middle, they can and they will impact also the downstream section of the river, and further down also impact will be visible on the Baltic Sea, which we have seen on the pictures. That's again another slightly different picture of the source to sea system. So you can see it fully from the land system through freshwater ecosystems, estuaries, deltas, coastline, sea shelf, and through open sea. All the whole range of different disturbing factors is on the way. The source to sea approach concept identifies also some key elements like water, biota, sediments within the river waters, pollutants and materials which they can get to the water along its flow. And all this combined to condition of the whole ecosystem services, water ecosystem services, that the source to sea system provides. Yes, incorporating local ecological knowledge, that I already mentioned. Obviously, involvement of stakeholders is one thing. Other thing is to manage this involvement, because as you can see on the picture, there can be broad range of different stakeholders with different and sometimes contradicting interests, and it takes good planner and good team of managers to combine it all together for the purpose of getting good water management plans for river and for stakeholders as well. Yes, for now we still are on the inland waters side. So I would like to show you the river basins in Baltic Sea region. On the left map, you can see the colorful river basins in different countries of Baltic Sea region. You can take a look on some countries. You can see which countries have the biggest basins, which have rather the smaller ones within the borders. And on the right map, you have the 7 biggest rivers within the Baltic Sea region, which covers 15% of the Baltic Sea catchment area. So few of the biggest rivers, you can see the names and also the countries, can have and actually have the biggest impact in terms of influencing Baltic Sea condition, because through them, as we already know, the nutrients flow via this transmission passes as a rivers to the Baltic Sea. We know that from the data that almost whole Baltic is affected by eutrophication. So this is how great impact rivers have on the marine waters, and this is why we need to take care about like efficient source to sea approach to tackle this problem on the land, so the condition can get the condition of the Baltic can get better. The river inputs of total nutrients, I mean nitrogen and phosphorus, contribute about 80 and over 90%, which is huge amount, to the total input. On the map, you can see a specification of the nutrient loads by countries. So you can also see which countries have the biggest share with this high load of nutrients. These are the data from HELCOM Commission, which CCP is also the observer. Yes, and the data also shows that unfortunately the Baltic is not in a good state, but I think we already know here as we are this fact. Eutrophication is still the major pressure, human pressure, despite some slight trends of nutrient reduction, but still not enough is done from the side of Baltic region countries, of course. Current challenges listed as water challenges, especially marine challenges, are littering and plastics, underwater sound, pharmaceuticals, seabed disturbance, and climate change. Some of them are also challenges for the inland waters. And this is also the link to the marine waters, as the rivers bring them like litter or pharmaceuticals to the Baltic Sea. So this is this connection. Yes, eutrophication, we could see is one of the main threats to the Baltic Sea, not only for biodiversity, but it's also disturbance for people and marine waters use. Of course, we know that it comes from nutrients, from over-fertilization in agriculture, from not respecting the norms. And what we do as CCB and also HELCOM is that we are trying to achieve and we are trying to support the Baltic Sea Action Plan goal, which is obviously a Baltic Sea unaffected by eutrophication. Let's hope and we believe that the nutrient reduction pressure will happen more intensively, as we could see already some trends, but as I said, it's still not enough. The linkages, like in the source to sea approach, so between the land, inland waters and the Baltic Sea waters, can be also visible as a connectivity factor of the rivers. So the first one was rather like reduction of nutrients, and now I would like to move to the connectivity factor, because it's also the basis of upstream downstream solidarity. As I said, if we act in certain way at some point alongside the river, the other society in other point of the same river can also be affected. So the river system needs to be perceived holistically. I would like to recommend you visit this link. It's a short movie about upstream downstream solidarity and proper water management. Not very complicated and really good to see it. On the left you have You have presented the Odra River Basin, which is actually my home basin, because I live here basically all my life, within different sections of the river. So that also was a chance for me to get to know different parts of the river, which is essential for, again, the holistic vision of the river and the holistic approach. And obviously, you know that Odra River Basin is belongs to 3 countries: Poland, Germany, and Czech. And it's one of the biggest basins draining the biggest basins of the Baltic Sea region, what you could see on the previous map with different basins. Still about connectivity. So there are 2 aspects of connectivity, not only this longitudinal connectivity when the river it's connected along its length, as you can see on the left, let's say, branch. So this longitudinal connectivity is important. So without dams and obstacles on the way to the sea, but also there is an importance of lateral connectivity. So it's connection between the river and the neighborhoods, between the river and wetlands, floodplains, which allows the river function healthy, naturally, and how it should be. Sometimes, of course, there is a disturbance when people are when the cities are growing nearby the river, or there are other disturbances where river is not allowed to have its space. What also can be obviously some kind of danger for inhabitants. There is also an opinion that small hydropowers, which are also a barriers for the rivers, they are not so dangerous for river, but you can have the impression from this particular picture, but also from the scientific data, that small contribution of small hydropower plants is extremely limited, but their impacts on the environment are quite severe, and it's still, despite of its capacity, it's still a barrier on river which breaks the connectivity. And sometimes, for example, in Poland, there are some sections of the rivers built up with many of small hydropowers, which you can imagine increase the damaging effect. This slide is to show some words about efficient actions, because we know that the natural introduction and ensuring the connectivity of river, it would improve the source to sea system and its condition. Of course, there are different factors, but I have chosen these 2 ones to picture as the source to sea. And there are also some data regarding the recovering the habitats, for example, river habitats, And the most efficient actions are, for example, dam removal, marked here, and it also connects the small. It's also referring to the small hydropower. Also, the efficient action. They are on the right side. Yes, if you can see, is a wetland restoration and expanding protected areas. I show this slide for the purpose if you can get involved in some actions, of course, then there can be, for example, campaign. There can be perhaps different actions you can get involved. But if you have a chance, choose these ones, because the data shows that they are simply the most productive and the most efficient for the riverine ecosystems, and thus they work well at the end on the Baltic Sea condition. Also, as we are in the Baltic Ocean Literacy School, there's an importance, except the actions, there is importance how we express what we know, how we provide the data we have, basically how to express. Obviously, it is best to use the proper wording. I would rather recommend maybe not too scientifically, because our actions also needs to be understandable for ordinary people. And while speaking or writing, while preparing the campaign, or while taking any actions related to that, to the source to sea in particular, preferably would be good if you can act on what you speak about. That's always advantage. Speak about rivers when you speak about the sea and ocean, because we cannot disconnect it. And as you, I hope, could see, the impact of rivers on our sea is huge. For example, through the nutrients and through the barriers on the rivers. Also, highlight the importance of the connectivity of the rivers for the Baltic Sea condition. Always think, speak, write about the holistic approach, not just about section of the river, also about integrated water management. Of course, we are here at CCB as experts to help, or to for the consultation if you are not sure about something. And also good step is to use your local knowledge, which is important, and example nearby. For example, you can simply check which river close to you comes to the Baltic Sea mouth or other sea, where it starts, where it ends, if there are some obstacles on the way, maybe some barriers or hydropowers. That's some start point for the exploration and learning. And it can be quite knowledgeable process. The same as I went through Odra River Basin, having the possibility to visit different sections and then having the more holistic view on the basin, and then on the source to sea connection as I work with Baltic Sea at Coalition Clean Baltic now. So I'm quite a good example here, I think. For more knowledge, you can also dive to our publications. They are related to rivers, their impact on the Baltic Sea condition, and also on the migratory fish and fish stocks. This one is in finalization. It will come soon, so that can be also some source of knowledge in terms of situation of rivers, condition of rivers, and challenges for water management in particular Baltic Sea region countries. So you can also check how is the situation of the Baltic, of the rivers in your country, what are the challenges, what is proposed to improve the situation, etc. And this is the invitation to upcoming River University. It will be placed in Germany, nearby the Oder Delta area. More information you can visit on the website, and the agenda will come soon, along with the registration open. So feel free to register if you would like to have some more knowledge of on the reverse impact of on the Baltic Sea. Yes, and basically that's all from me. I hope that at least some elements of the source to sea system is more familiar now. And thank you very much.